All right. And if we don't count the last one, which just spontaneously stopped working, this is episode 14,001.
Take 300.
Take 3. Actually, the funny thing is, like, all the stuff we've recorded, and I don't have any, knock on wood, all the stuff we recorded, like the episodes here and stuff for Fury Box, how many times have we really had things just spontaneously fuck up on us and, like, we've lost stuff? Like, 2 or 3 times?
I know there was at least one podcast when we were trying to do it on, like, the outside the box stuff that got, like, halfway through. Yeah, that's like Audacity stopped like it did just for you, and it's happened with me before too. So it's not like
I distinctly remember Alien Isolation when we were recording that. There was one episode that got botched pretty hard.
Mm-hmm. Man, that's a great game.
Trying to get that to work. Yes, it is. I really hope we actually get the sequel at some point.
Well, we are.
Anyway,
we are actually. It's in the form of a phone game. I don't know if you saw that.
Not that sequel, like the actual sequel. I don't want to talk about phone games. So yeah, this is our second attempt at recording this. My computer is dying very, very slowly. Let this be a lesson to people that use SSDs. Do not buy a shit size SSD thinking it'll be fine for Windows, because no. Windows is like that brother that moves into your house because he just split up with his wife and he says he's only going to be there for 3 months, but 3 months turns into 3 years.
And he just keeps bringing more and more of his shit, and he's just gradually making himself more at home, taking up more space.
Yeah, by fucking year 2, you've already lost your game room to him, and there's no luck of getting that back, short of evicting him.
And he's like, hey bro, you want to update? And you're like, nah, I don't really want to update right now. Or I'm going to go ahead and force this update on you. So, let me tell you about my day on the couch. I'm going to update your knowledge about me.
Yeah, so the short of this is my computer that I built, I'd say probably 4 years ago at this point, 3 or 4 years ago, is just, it is struggling to maintain. I had put Windows on 128 gig SSD that I got, thinking it would be sufficient to run it, but
you silly bastard.
I didn't. The downside was I didn't know at the time a lot about Premiere and how the caching system works for it. So I had Windows running on this and Premiere, and then I was saving the videos, to my hard drive that I have. But it was saving all the cache files for Premiere to the SSD, which fills up fucking quick.
Oh,
so
it was the default storage unit
for the cache files for Premiere, not for the actual videos. But so the SSD, like, I kept getting these messages. Like, when we first started the podcast, I was getting saying, like, I'm running out of memory. So I went through, I deleted most of my Steam games because I really don't game on this computer at the moment. Cleared up some space, thought everything was great, and I just kept getting these warnings and things were going slower and slower. And now it's at the point where, like, sometimes the computer wants to work, sometimes it doesn't. So we already have a plan in place. Mari and I we're building the next computer. If everything lines up the way I'm hoping it will, we're looking at, like, ideally the very beginning of July the computer will be done. Realistically, we're probably looking at, like, August.
Okay.
So,
well, good luck.
Yeah, so that's for all that. Anyway, welcome back to the podcast. We're going to talk about movies and video games and big old dank anime titties.
Speaking of video games, like, 2 things I actually want to talk about. The first one is more...
Are you going to talk about Gato Roboto?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, I have a surprise for you then. What are you going to talk about, Zach?
Because when you were likening Windows to a relationship with a fucking in-law, if that is that, then I feel like a relationship with Nintendo is like that kind of really bad relationship where they're really super nice to you, but then they fucking just treat you really bad behind closed doors. But, like, they'll slap you, and then they'll go, I'm sorry. I love you. You're my number one. You're my number one.
You mean gaslighting?
I guess that is what that's called. Yeah, because it's just like... I
liken Nintendo to an ex that you used to have really great sex with, and you broke up for obvious reasons, but damned if you don't keep going back for that crazy strange.
It's like
they just know how to work you.
Cause it's like, you saw the thing with Mario Maker 2, right?
Super Mario Maker 2. How you can't play with friends, but you can only play with random fucking people.
Yeah.
Which makes no fucking sense
because
whatsoever.
Leaderboards. You don't want your online friends messing up the leaderboards. I mean, you can still do it locally. You can play with friends locally, obviously. But, yeah, you have to play with random people because leaderboards, though. You know, the thing everyone
think Nintendo
cares
seems to understand that the generation that grew up with their games at the time may have had, you know, Steve down the street to play games with, or Sally would come over and you'd play Mario Kart. No, we grew up into the generation that made online dating a thing. We made our own self-inclusion and withdrawal from society so monumental that we met marriage partners sometimes without ever having seen them for the first time until 6 months down the road.
Dude,
like,
it's so silly. And like people are keep saying like, oh, Nintendo just doesn't understand online. No, they do. They just don't care what everyone else is doing. That's the point. They don't give a fuck. Like Mario Kart works fine.
You know what Nintendo is, Zach?
Mario Kart works fine. Smash works mostly fine. Like, it depends, but like Nintendo knows what they're doing. They just don't care about doing it like the mainstream way. They want to do it their way.
You know what Nintendo is? And this is probably the best analogy I'm ever going to come up with. Nintendo is George R.R. Martin. Oh. They don't have to do anything different because they've already got your money.
Yeah, they've already got your money. Fuck you.
Yeah, I don't know. I never played that much of the original Mario Maker. I really just watched videos of Aaron getting angry at Mario Maker.
I made some levels. I made a couple levels here and there, you know. It was fun. I played some other people's
I'll probably
levels.
get it for the Switch. I didn't own a Wii U, at least for any length of time. You know, but while we're on the topic of game companies, you know, if we're going to talk about game companies fucking up, then let's talk about game companies doing something right. Did you hear about Microsoft? With the PC Game Pass?
No, but I don't follow Microsoft.
So you know what the Xbox Game Pass is, right?
Yeah.
So they announced today that at E3 they're going to give out more details, but they're coming out with a PC Game Pass where you sign up for a monthly subscription, you get access to, I think they said starting off it's like 75 partners and over 100 games. You know, for that, and I don't know if it's going to tie into a subscription with the Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah, I was about to say,
it's nice to see them.
Is this like their stuff that's like cross-play?
No, this isn't their cross-play stuff. That's a separate thing. This is them working with other companies to offer these games as part of the pass. And we'll see what they all are at E3 in about a week and a half, 2 weeks. So
neat.
And also, Microsoft announcing they're going to be selling their stuff on Steam, which is kind of the opposite of what Epic's been doing with companies lately.
I was wondering. I wonder when Epic was going to pop back into the. God damn.
It's kind of weird because I own my PlayStation. I love my PlayStation. I'm probably going to buy a PlayStation 5 when it comes out. But I almost want Microsoft to win the next console war.
I want to see them
because, follow me here, I am going to buy a PlayStation 5. I'm probably going to buy an Xbox One 2 or whatever they call it when it comes out also.
Xbox One 2. Not the Xbox or the Xbone sad.
Oh, it could be worse. They could do what Call of Duty's doing, and we're going to talk about that in a minute too. So I almost want Microsoft to win because I really like their approach to the game ecosystem at the moment, where they're trying to force inclusion. They're trying to get more companies to allow like cross-connective gameplay.
I mean, it's their only option anymore, honestly.
Yeah, and like what they're talking about this deal with Sony, I would like to see that adoption. And we've had this conversation before, so we really don't need to go too much into it, but I'm very interested to see what both companies are going to do. But
it's like,
yeah,
someone mentioned this before, and it's like each generation, it seems like the generation that was on top is the one that fucks up in the next generation because they got cocky with their previous win. Like Microsoft, to me, Microsoft was on top last time. Like the 360 kicked ass.
There's not a question.
Like,
anyone that wants to fucking sit there and tell me that the PlayStation 3 was better than the 360 is out of their goddamn gourd.
But like, so they got cocky and they came out with the Xbox One. They're like, if you want a console that could be offline, here's the 360. Like, you know, they got a little big for their britches, and then they kind of paid for it. And now Sony is on top this time, but now Sony's, you know, they fought really hard with not having crossplay, like the whole Fortnite bullshit. They banning anime titties and like all this shit where like Sony's getting a little up itself, and now I don't know. We might see Microsoft come on top in the next generation. We'll just have to see. And then Nintendo is just off to the side doing Nintendo things.
Well, we'll see. I mean, you've also got shit like Google coming out with, you know, Project Stadia.
The Stadia, which is weird.
It's weird, but it has potential, dude. Cloud computing is going to leverage a lot of gaming technology.
If you've got the internet to make it worthwhile.
The funny thing about cloud technology, and I see a lot of people saying like you need the internet technology to make it worthwhile, you really need a minimal internet connection to use proper game streaming at that level. A lot of people want to liken this to, I can't remember the company from years ago that tried to do this shit and it didn't work because bandwidth wasn't reliable enough back then. What they're trying to do requires like not a ton of internet. Like you really just need, but I would say almost DSL level to get it working properly. Like maybe even baseline fiber.
Certainly need it to be like steady though. Like maybe it doesn't have to be fast, but it needs to at least be consistent, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean that's pretty much like anything streaming. I don't know. I think that's one of the big problems, but
I think the biggest problem is that it's fucking Google doing it, and Google cannot stand behind anything for more than 5 seconds. Google is the ultimate ADD company.
Hold on.
They will announce
Google
something.
Hangouts and talk to the community about this.
Oh, you can't do that. Google Hangouts is gone.
See? Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Like, fucking, they will support something for 5 months, asterisk, except Android, and then it's out the window. I really don't see Stadia might last for like a year or two. I don't think enough people are going to adopt it. I think it's a novel idea. It'll be cool to try when it comes out, but I don't see them becoming a long time proponent of this stuff. Like, yeah, who knows? But anyway, speaking of long time proponents in the video game industry, did you hear about the new Call of Duty?
Is it a full remake of Modern Warfare? The one.
So the new Call of Duty, Zach, is called it's called Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Gotcha. All right.
That's its title.
Thank you, Kanye. Very cool.
So, aside from giving it a name, which is confusing at best, apparently they're going the hyper gritty, dark, realistic route with the story for this. One of the Call of Duty
going back to the no Russian days.
Well, it's funny you bring that up, because what I was going to say was one of the I don't want to call them influencers because I hate that term. Like people that play Call of Duty professionally and like get to see sneak peeks of things. He got to see this early and said that it makes no Russians look like a walk in a park, like a candy picnic.
Time to set a flesh-eating virus, an airborne flesh-eating virus in an orphanage.
Well, they did say that apparently in this game you kill kids. So
man,
I don't know.
Postal wouldn't even let you do that shit when they brought the first. I think the first part. God damn it, Postal. No, it wasn't Postal. It was Fallout. Wasn't the original Fallout? Couldn't you originally kill kids and then they?
Yup.
And then they patched that shit out for like later releases or something.
Yeah. But. Apparently, so half of the campaign for Modern Warfare you play through as a female Middle Eastern soldier. You can imagine the kind of shit we're going to see on Twitter about this.
Especially if it gets as dark as people are saying, because that's a minefield. Pardon the war pun there.
Yeah, so it is a dark, gritty reimagining of the Modern Warfare series. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Modern Warfare. I love that game, but at this point I'm like, all right. They did say that there will be no season pass and no DLC for this game at all. It's all going to be free content.
Which
going
I
into it.
believe they might do at first, and then they'll sneak some shit in there.
Yeah. Did you see that EA went back and retroactively updated the original Plants vs. Zombies to add DLC to it? Like pay to win shit.
Wait, the original Plants vs.
The
Zombies?
original.
I thought it did have microtransactions to
The
get the card
fucking
packs.
phone game.
Oh,
No,
the
you
original. I was for some reason I was thinking Garden Warfare.
Not Garden Warfare.
Because we were talking about Modern Warfare. No, that's so stupid.
Yeah, just trying to monetize anything you can, man.
God, EA really wants that money.
They really, really do. So, anyway, before we forget, I was talking about Gato Roboto.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Those are nonsense words.
It is Devolver Digital's newest game on the Switch, Zach.
All right, Devolver Digital. I am usually pleased with things I play that they sling out. So,
do you want me to continue selling you on this game?
Please tell me. I'm just burping up spaghetti.
It's a Metroidvania.
Ooh.
You play a cat in a mech.
Is it out now? I don't even know if I need to see.
It came out today. Let me finish.
Goo.
You play a cat in a mech.
Uh-huh.
It's like old style Game Boy graphics.
Okay.
And when you want to explore, you have to get out of the mech and walk around as the cat.
Oh man, so like ooh, all right, yeah, I'm gonna look at that. Like, damn it, if the Switch weren't in the other room, I would bring it up right now and start looking at it. And I'd probably live purchase that shit. How much is it?
$650, I think. I looked. It's on Steam. They had them on sale for $650.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking into that as soon as we get off here.
I'm probably gonna buy it, and I can't remember the last thing I bought. Actually, no, the last thing I bought on the Switch was Final Fantasy VII for Mari.
Josh, talk. I need to go get the Switch and look at this.
Sit the fuck down, Zach. God damn it. You can wait. I'm not. Okay, I refuse. Put the fucking Switch down, you cocksucker. We need to finish this. It was literally in the other room. That's fine. Stop focusing on the game. Anyway. So... that seems like a pretty promising game.
No, yeah, I'm gonna.
The only reason I found that was because someone posted it on Reddit, and I saw the picture of the cat, and I was like, "That's adorable." So, anyway,
did you see the trailer for Death Stranding? Because I have opinions.
I did not. I don't care. I told you the last time we talked about this game, fucking Hideo Kojima and his bullshit with this game. I'm done. I want an honest answer as to what the fuck this stupid fucking game is before I invest any sort of time into it.
Well, okay, so...
I did see that the collector's edition comes with a baby.
So, I watched the trailer. I mean, I'm not going to go through, like, the whole thing or anything, because
yeah, because it's like 9 minutes long.
There's lots of, CG story things. Norman Reedus talking like this, and saying Norman Reedus things, and pushing the plot a little bit for you. Or however the fuck he talks.
The best thing to come out of this was someone on Reddit calling it Norman Reedus' throat fetus.
Accurate.
Yeah.
So yeah, it shows all this like the little CG shit that spoon feeds you a little bit of more Kojima bullshit story, but it does show gameplay, and what gameplay it shows is not. It looks fucking boring. Like, it just looks boring. Like, okay, it looks like it's open world. It looks like you're kind of backpacking around. There's like a point where like, oh, there's like a cliff facing a few feet up. So I'm gonna pull out my handy dandy extendo ladder, and he just like sets it down, and it like extends out and makes like a little handhold bridge to climb up. I mean, that's it's fine. It's whatever. You see him sneaking around some soldiers because they're soldiers. then you, at one point, and this was actually really funny. I think they wanted to come off as more, whoa, look at that, but it came off as really silly. Is like, he gets spotted by a couple soldiers, right? So, you know, you do what probably anyone has done in like a stealth, an open world stealth game where he just fucking books it and hopes he can outrun the soldiers, and you see the soldiers just running behind him, take wild swings at him with a stick and miss a couple times, and then it just cuts to him like punching the soldiers, and like I'm just like, that's not like, that doesn't look very fun. Okay. And then there's another part where he's like in a forest or whatever, and I guess you're hiding from whatever monsters or, you know, whatever the supernatural baddies are in this game. And he gets spotted, right? And it does this thing where, oh, remember the shit from Evil Dead where it is showing the perspective of like the evil spirit going quick running through the forest? Yeah. It does a thing kind of like that, which didn't make a whole lot of sense, but whatever. It did a thing kind of like that, and then suddenly, you know, the main character is just like in a big old puddle of black goo that makes it kind of hard to run away, and he's just sloshing through that while things start to attack him. And gameplay wise, this game just looks boring. And I was talking about it with like our chat, and I was just like, this game looks kind of boring. And they're like, oh, it's gonna be so good though, Kojima though. It's gonna be cool because Kojima's doing the story. Kojima, and like no one could really. And I had to pose the question. I'm like, would anyone actually care about this game after seeing that trailer if Kojima's name wasn't stamped all over it? Yeah, because it looks good. I'm like, no, but it doesn't though. It looks weird, and that's it.
I think that like Kojima, I give him a little bit of leeway because he has this ability to take like convoluted storylines and like weave messages through them.
Sure.
And I appreciate the games he's come out with. I even love a few of the games he's come out with.
First Metal Gear Solid / Twin Snakes, awesome. I love Snake Eater, like
G-Police.
A whole
not G-Police, fucking
not Psychonauts either. Fuck Police Knots and
yeah,
Snatcher.
there you go. Fucking it was there somewhere.
Which I've never played those.
All I know about this game is what he has said, and the only thing I've taken out of this is the comparison. When this trailer came out, he said that the way Metal Gear, when it first came out, was called an action game, but created the stealth genre because no one really knew what a stealth game was at that point, because it did so many different things, is what he's trying to do with this. He's trying to like create a new genre, a new type of game experience. And that is the only single thing that has kept me like waiting to see something about this game. And all the bullshit hype up to it, I don't care about a trailer. I want him on stage explaining what the fuck is going on and then showing me gameplay of that. And then I'll be like, okay, maybe I can get into this. Like the motion capture is really impressive. Yeah, the actors look really neat, gorgeous.
In it. Like graphically, the game looks very, very good.
I like what he's trying to do with the whole idea of like you interact with other players' worlds through death. Like that could be cool, like sort of a Dark Soulsy type thing. I don't know.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't know about that part. Like I've seen a couple trailers and I saw the new trailer. I didn't know that was a feature because
he has been explicit about that this game is going to be a completely new type of multiplayer experience. And I'm like, okay, I can get behind that if you do it right. I think if there's anyone fucking crazy enough with enough vision to create a new type of multiplayer experience, it's probably Hideo Kojima. So we'll see what happens come November. Right now, I'm not even on the fence about it. I'm behind the fence, peeking over like Wilson and Home Depot, or on Home Improvement.
Like the Metal Gear Solid games are great, and they're weird and they're crazy, and that's great. But I have never once considered Kojima a good writer. he's an entertaining writer. That's the way I've always described it. He's entertaining, but it's like batshit and it doesn't always make sense. So I don't know. Like I said, the trailer looks like a whole lot of pretty CG and story parts with boring sneaking around in the rain parts to break it up. Like, the gameplay just doesn't look very fun to me.
We will see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see if it can stand.
Hopefully we'll hear something at E3. I mean, we have E3 coming up.
We'll see if if there's any death to stand, to any two legs to death standing on.
Yeah, well, I mean, we have E3 coming up. We have a lot of announcements coming out. They did the Pokemon Home stuff, which a whole bunch of announcements regarding that. That's cool, I guess. I don't care. I'm waiting to hear more about Sword and Shield, so that'll be neat. I think there are dates out for the press conferences. I know that Sony has one where they're probably going to announce that Last of Us 2 is getting delayed till 2020, because I don't think they want it competing with Death Stranding.
Probably not.
So
no, I am excited.
We're probably going to see, my guess is Last of Us 2 is probably going to be February or March 2020. I know people are saying it's going to be a PS5 launch title. I would not be surprised. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I don't think they want to wait until the holiday season of 2020 to release Last of Us 2.
Yeah.
I think realistically, Last of Us 2 is going to be the final hurrah on the PS4.
Which I'm good
maybe
with.
Ghosts of Tsushima will be the final hurrah on the PS4. I don't know.
I completely forgot about that game.
I didn't. But I would be very surprised if they pushed it all the way back to the holiday season of 2020. I'd be very surprised if they released the PlayStation 5 anytime before the holiday season of 2020. But we'll see.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm not in a hurry for
There's
PS5.
a lot of announcements. Over the next 2 to 3 weeks, we're going to be getting a fuck ton of game announcement stuff. So.
Well, that's cute. It
is cool.
Yeah, but
you know what else was really cool?
What's that?
Fucking John Wick.
Oh, that's right. It did come out. I was about to ask you about. Well, like, what have you been watching? Yeah, we both saw John Wick. Yes. What did you think?
Well, as for what I've been watching on Netflix, fucking Next Generation, because Mari has not seen most of it.
Oh,
so
I've been watching Deep Space Nine. So.
Yeah, we'll get there eventually. But anyway, John Wick.
What did you think?
What did you think of John Wick 3, Zach?
I really liked it. I think it was not as good as the first, but better than the second.
I feel like the movies are getting progressively better. I love the first one. I really like the second one. I really like this one. Chad Stahelski, the guy that made the movie, who coincidentally who was Keanu Reeves' stunt double in The Matrix, and also was Brandon Lee's stunt double in The Crow, has done a very good job of crafting this world of assassins throughout the movies. You know, we're getting bits of the lore piece by piece, and I think that's really cool. I really like this movie. I mean, there's not really a lot to say about it. It's a John Wick movie. They kind of follow a formula at this point, but it's a formula that I'm not tired of yet.
Yes, it's very.
I will say that for me, for me, it has one of the most satisfying opening scenes ever, just because
it's in the fucking library.
I so desperately want to do that to some people that come into the library. Just, oh my god!
Misty was like, "Why is this shit always got to happen in the library?"
That's funny, because I was sitting there with Mari, just going, "Oh god, I would love to be able to do this to people. Like, return your fucking library books."
And then he put it right back on the shelf. I like that.
Yep, he did. He shelved his own book, which I approve of, even though some people don't. But yeah, John Wick 3 was really solid. I don't want to spoil too much of the movie because it's still out, and it's not a movie that we're directly discussing at the moment. But I will say that Keanu's great in it. Fucking Halle Berry was amazing in it. Loved her in the movie. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ian McShane, everyone great in the movie. Solid. If you're a fan of John Wick, I don't know why you wouldn't have seen this shit already. I think everybody who was a fan of this series has been waiting for that one, and they already announced that the next one's coming out March 21st 2020, so nice. We already have a date for John Wick 4,
so roughly a year.
Pretty excited for that. Yeah. What else have I been watching? Been going through YouTube stuff. catching up on like some of the older videos for like the regular car reviews, Eye Patch Wolf, shit like that. Red Letter Media, going through theirs.
I
really nothing else.
I watched through Cobra Kai season 2.
How was that?
Fucking awesome. Like, I wasn't sure they were gonna be able to like do as good as a season, because you know season 2, like season 1 was just so fucking good, and I was just like, all right, season 2 probably gonna be pretty good, but like I don't know if they could do it just as good. Like that show is as close as perfection to me. Like they just did everything right in Cobra Kai. I cannot wait for season 3.
It's funny that it's YouTube doing
Dude, it
this.
makes no sense. It's like part of some kind of weird alternate timeline bullshit where fucking, I don't know, Pepsi makes beer or like I don't know, something else I can't think of because I'm not very clever. But like it makes no sense that it's just like this high budget YouTube show.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I've yet to watch any of it because honestly, I just don't care. Like I probably will at some point. I'll be sitting on YouTube one day and I'll be like, fuck it, I'll check this out. But I don't know. I get home, I pretty much load up YouTube or Hulu, watch something, and then just work my way into a game and then go to bed. There's nothing new out right now that interests me.
Let's see. I've been watching a little bit of anime.
Oh yeah, what?
I've finally caught up on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Golden Wind.
I'm nowhere near fucking caught up on JoJo. We watched like the first 5 episodes of the first series and then just went over to other things. We need to finish Baki because we're a couple episodes into that. So
man,
the new part.
JoJo's. If you're starting from like Phantom Blood, which is the first part, you just got to take into consideration that was the first, written back in the 80s. So it's like
I'm well aware.
Phantom Blood's not great, but then Battle Tendency. Luckily, Phantom Blood isn't very long, but then you get to Battle Tendency, and you're like, I'm ready to go on this crazy ass ride. But I caught up on that. I started watching this the newer anime. I guess it's newer. I don't know. Called The Saga of Tanya the Evil.
Never heard of it.
It's an isekai. Do you know what an isekai is, right?
Isekai?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, for those of you who don't know what an isekai is, basically means an anime. It basically means trapped in another world. So like your Sword Art's Online kind of thing. So that's kind of what this is. It's not like trapped in a
Konosuba.
It's not like trapped in a video game kind of thing. What the plot is that this fucking like horrible like just high rank or high up in the company like Japanese salary man who's like his job is, I guess, is whatever position he has allows him to fire people for whatever fucking reason. So he's one of those who they're just like, we're not gonna fire you. We're instead going to ask you to leave resign because it will make the company look better. Like, so he ruins this dude's life. Like, I'm sure he has many. And then later, the dude he fired pushes him into a train and kills him. And then he's sitting in front of God, right? And God's like talking to him. The salaryman's like, fuck you. I don't believe in God. I'm just going to call you Being X. Fuck you. You're not real. God ain't real. And God's like, you know what? I'm going to fuck you. I'm going to reincarnate your ass in a world where you are not powerful. You know, you are not whatever. So he gets reincarnated into this like horrible like World War II almost like world that's just been at war for God knows how long. It's like very World War II in its technology, and he's just like this little fucking blonde girl and like their magic is a thing. And it's really cool how it implements it. Like they have these the fucking what's a World War II rifle, the long rifle that they would use,
the Garand.
Yeah, he would like they'd have like a Garand, and their mages who could use magic, whatever, would just like infuse their fucking bullet with magic and just field nuke with it. And like they fly around and shit. But yeah, he's basically like this little girl mage who just climbs the military rank because this little blonde girl is merciless and just like a horrible person. and manipulative. Huh. It's really cool. And like
is it on Verve?
It is it's on Crunchyroll. And what's weird is
then it's I don't remember.
Yeah, Crunchyroll I think owns Verve or vice versa or whatever. So yeah, it's on Verve if you have it. What's weird is that this anime, and I've never seen this before, this anime is dubbed in like something like seven different languages. It's weird. It's really odd, including English on Crunchyroll.
When did it come out?
I want to say at least like 3 years ago.
Well,
but it's really cool.
I haven't been watching any anime, as interesting as that sounds, but I can tell you what I did watch was a little movie called Hush.
Oh, dang, we're already getting into it. This is going to be a short-ass podcast.
We're already getting into it. Already going to get into it. We're going to do that. Mainly because it's almost 11 o'clock at night, and I'm fucking tired.
Yeah, I got to work tomorrow,
so, yeah.
Hush, which Hush. You didn't like. I saw your
That's
Facebook
not true.
Post. You called it frustrating.
Just because I'm frustrated with something doesn't mean I don't like it. You are a prime example of that.
I knew it. I fucking knew it. You're gonna go with that. All right. So tell me your thoughts on Hush.
I will after you tell people what Hush is about. You pick the movie, so you describe it.
Okay. Well, luckily, even I could probably do this one because it's such a simple plot.
Let's watch Zach fuck this one up.
Yup. Every time. Hush is about this writer. She is deaf and mute due to like a meningitis at 13 or something like that.
Yeah, she had a meningitis infection when she was young.
So she's deaf, she's mute, she's a writer, she lives by herself, and this fucking killer.
Where does she live, Zach? That's kind of
in the woods, I guess. I didn't get a specific.
She lives in a cabin in the woods.
Oh yeah, that's true. Cabin in the woods. But yeah, she lives by herself in a cabin in the woods, and this like killer shows up, kills like her friend. And of course, the writer lady, she's like oblivious because she managed to bustle about the kitchen and not turn slightly to the left and see her friend getting stabbed to death.
That is a perfect segue into me explaining why this movie was frustrating. So first, let me say this. I liked Hush. I won't say that I loved Hush, but I have seen much, much worse films in my life. I'm looking at you, Bye Bye Man.
Bye Bye Man.
But even excluding Bye Bye Man, I have seen far worse movies than this. I actually liked Hush. I talked about it with Mari afterwards, and I would say that my final rating on this film is probably a 6.5 out of 10, maybe a 7, and that's pushing it. So it's probably going to land at a 6.5. What was frustrating for me about this movie are a handful of things. To go in to explain a little bit more about the movie, this killer shows up out of nowhere, and you see him murder her friend right outside of her kitchen. She has like a sliding glass door leading into her kitchen, and she's like cleaning up, and her friend is like banging on the door saying like, please see me or whatever.
I am getting stabbed to death.
Yeah, this dude proceeds to stab her more times than an entire Nightmare on Elm Street film. It's like he stabs her, then he stabs her again. And then like 12 stabs later, you're sitting there like, is he going for a Guinness record or something? Because this guy's really committed to disemboweling the hot redhead from the beginning of the movie. And what was frustrating for me is there's a scene just before this where her fire alarm goes off, and she has like this really intense fire alarm because she explains, I need the vibrations to wake me up when I'm sleeping because she can't hear it. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense that, a deaf person might have like a more intense fire alarm. How in the fuck would the vibrations from a fire alarm downstairs wake you up from a dead sleep through wood floors, but you don't hear or feel your friend banging on a glass door 10 feet away from you?
Not even 10. She was all of like 5 feet away. Like, it was in the same room.
That frustrated the shit out of me about this. And then what really
grinded your
the
gears.
Overall frustration with Hush for me are the amount of times and opportunities she had to fucking end his life and just kill him right there, and she just didn't do it. Like, there's a scene very early in the movie when she knows that this guy's there, and she has this idea to get the cell phone from her friend, which for me is a big problem with this movie. Mari swears up and down that it makes sense, but it doesn't for me. But I'll try and explain this real quick and backtrack myself. One of the first shots we see in the movie is of her friend, the redhead, just her ass with a cell phone in the pocket. And it's her walking up to her house. And I'm like, okay, I don't know why we got an ass shot in this. But then it's alluded to later in this scene after the main character, her name was Maddie. After Maddie knows that there's a killer out there, she's trying to get her best friend's phone from her back pocket to call the police because he's got her phone. How did she know about her best friend's phone in the back pocket? We saw that as the audience as an ass shot of her walking up the stairs.
Because
does she just happen to know that her friend had the phone right there?
Because everybody has a phone. Why? It's weirder to not have a phone. That is my logic.
But she knew it was going to be in her friend's back pocket. Like, it's just, it's weird that, like, when she had the idea to go for her friend's phone, that her thought involved that exact picture that we as the audience saw.
My way of rationalizing that is, like I said, everyone has a phone, and I see women constantly carry their phones in their back pockets. It's crazy to me because you're going to sit on it and you're going to break it, but
I feel like there could have been much better ways to do this in the film.
And women front pockets are terrible.
No, but I will tell you this. I will tell you this right now. Like, using that shot was really fucking weird. What they could have done was, she had already mentioned her boyfriend was coming home. She should come over for dinner. Why not just have her get a phone call and say, oh, he's going to be home. You can come over for dinner. Then she knows she has the phone there.
But
it's just a lot of the editing in this movie is really weird. But one of the first things that really frustrated me is there's a scene where it's actually when she's going for her friend's phone. So she's sitting in her room with a hammer and a knife, John Wooing weapons. I approve of this in a horror film. She has a dresser blocking the door to her room so that this guy can't get in. And she sees the shadow coming through the window, right? So she gets up and she's gonna like hit something, like she's gonna hit him. And it comes to find out it's her friend. He's like holding her corpse up to the window to taunt her. And like, she starts breaking down and realizes when he goes away, she's gonna try and get the phone. And when she tries to go out and get the phone, she opens the window, reaches out to go for the phone. The guy realizes it and then rushes back over, tries to get into the window, and she bashes his fucking hand with the hammer. And I'm like, yes, that's what you have to do. Why wouldn't you keep doing it? Like, he's right outside the window. She could have, the minute he held her corpse up originally, she could have just taken that hammer through the window into his eye.
Because she's a fucking writer? She's not hardcore survivalist late. Like, that's something I liked about this character, because she wasn't badass survivalist, like, fighter chick, and she wasn't, but she also wasn't...
Then how the fuck do you explain the ending when she goes through all the fucking scenarios in her head?
Because, Josh, at that point she's been hunted for hours, and she's she's like losing blood, and she just had to be like, all right, I guess I'm just gonna have to kill him. Like,
No.
She just made that decision. You even see her make that decision. Like, that is my only
She could have attacked him multiple times in this movie.
Could have.
First of all, when she's in the bathroom at the end of the movie and she stabs him in the side, why would you stop there?
I don't know, man. Not everyone's got killer instincts.
She has already said she had killer instincts. She realized she had to kill him at that point.
It still doesn't mean, like, you're absolutely just gotta go gung-ho into killing people. Like, some people just, like, I want to do my best not to kill somebody.
Except she literally said, I have to kill him. That was her line.
I mean, I'm not
she
saying
knew
it's
she
perfect
had to kill
logic,
him.
But, like, I don't know.
That's what was frustrating to me about this movie, is the amount of times...
I think you're putting yourself like, if I were the deaf lady, this is what I would do.
You can say that I'm doing that in the situation with the hammer, but you can't say it with the knife, because at that point, she's already sat there and gone through all the scenarios and said, I have to kill him. So when she has an opportunity to kill him, she doesn't.
Well, I mean...
She has multiple opportunities. She sprays him in the face with Raid, which is
that.
probably my favorite scene in the fucking movie, because she's like sitting up against this kitchen cabinet and she just looks like she's done, right? And the guy just walks up and she just looks up and it's like, Raid in your face.
Yeah.
And it's not even like the aerosol Raid, it's the fucking foam Raid. Like, I once again need to say, I didn't hate this movie. I liked a lot of this movie. I was kind of surprised at how much I liked the guy from Bye Bye Man who played the boyfriend in this movie, which was our link from Bye Bye Man into this. Like, I liked him slowly piecing together what was going on. And dude, we got to give props to that guy for faking out being dead while bleeding out from his throat and then fucking just wailing on that guy, like putting him in the chokehold.
I kind of liked the killer. The
killer was kind of boring to me. The thing that was funny to me about the killer was how inept at his own job he was. Like, for someone who's like, I'm going to wait until you're wanting death at the last minute, and that's when I'm going to come for you. Watching him just continuously getting hurt it's almost like a comedy in this movie, because he gets his hand bashed with a hammer.
That's kind of why I like him, though. That's kind of like why I like him, though, because he's just like
when he was climbing up the fucking vines to get the crossbow, I was laughing my ass off when she just pulled it from him. Like, that shit was hilarious.
That's why I liked him.
Oh,
man. He's so bad. Oh, man.
Like, yeah, this dude was a fucking terrible killer. Like, oh my god.
One thing I wish it had done, and I kind of but I also feel like it would have gotten old really quick, was before he revealed himself to her. No, not in that way. But what? Because she wouldn't have been able to hear him do it. So like before he's like, ta-da! Here I am, the killer. I'm gonna get you. Like, there was a whole lot of tension because you had to like kind of put yourself mentally into it's like she is fucking oblivious and can't hear a goddamn thing, and he is just like walking around not making any attempt to be quiet, just kind of stay out of sight, and it's just like that built a whole lot of tension. But
yeah, I did like that. Like,
but then it was
I really enjoyed
soon.
His mask.
Oh yeah, the fucking just deadpan face.
Yeah, just kind of like just a white blank face. I really enjoyed that. But yeah, I agree. The tension when she was like on the computer with her sister and he's just there. I did enjoy that. Like, that was something I really liked about the movie.
Yeah, that just felt like that was
I liked the main character. I was just frustrated that she didn't kill him and end the movie, like, just fucking end it multiple times. It seemed to keep going on for no reason at times. And I do appreciate the end when she's kind of going through like the scenarios in her head, because she had mentioned earlier in the movie, like, her friend was like, you know, you have a voice in your head, like, what does it sound like? And then you hear that voice at the end and it's her kind of being like, you know, don't be fucking stupid, you can't run away, you can't hide, and all these like it was kind of like you never saw Happy Death Day, did you?
No, I didn't.
We might have to watch that one at some point because I actually liked Happy Death Day. Like just going over the different ways you're gonna fucking die if you don't do this right.
Mm-hmm.
And I had really thought at that point like that she knew what she was gonna do and she was gonna fucking just end this dude. And I really wanted her to go Home Alone murder on his ass. Like fucking just he gets into the house and it's just like cuts his Achilles tendon, sprays him with Raid, beats him over the head, strobe lights, and yeah, like Hush was not a bad film. No, it's even a movie I'd recommend to people. Yeah. I just got frustrated with certain aspects of it.
I thought the ending was like hardcore cliche. Like, how many times have you seen female horror protagonist like getting choked by the bad guy only to grab something at the last minute and like kill him with it, and then they're both just laying there and he's dead and she's just like gasping. Like, how often have you seen that happen? That was phoned in. Like,
I told Mari, like, while we were watching this, I was like, because in the beginning when she's going through her house, you notice she has like Stephen King books on the on her mantle.
Yeah, should have beat his ass with a copy of Insomnia. That shit would have killed him right then.
What I really wanted was a Stephen King ending to this, and I told Mari, like, as this was happening, I was like, the ending of this movie needs to be that she defends herself and kills him, and that the last scene in the movie is her signing a copy of her book that she was trying to write, and it's called Hush, and a fan walks up to her, and she looks up and sees that guy's face for a minute, and then realizes it's not him, and that's the end of the movie, because that's a Stephen King ending to a writing movie right there.
See, I think I would have preferred that.
Just take the ending of Misery and throw it into this.
Fucking something else I wanted to mention. So, boy, did this movie use a whole lot of Apple products, which makes me wonder, like, you know, did Apple slip them some money to put their products in there? But also, it showed how easily a killer can use your iPhone to completely shut off your Wi-Fi and keep you from phoning help from the police.
I mean, you could do that with an Android too. But yeah, I think the reason they
prominently showed it on the fucking iPhone is like, let me just go into settings.
Because they were using them in the movie,
and I was just like, I wonder if Apple appreciated them showing that, if they paid for them for that. Like,
Apple didn't pay for it; they'd have to pay Apple to use that in the movie. Yeah,
I thought it worked the other way around.
Apple does not pay for that kind of shit. You pay Apple for the right to use their products in movies.
God, why would you even want to pay Apple to do that? Just do a generic phone like everybody else does.
Brand recognition, man. That sells stuff.
Oh, and speaking of...
I'm convinced the reason that they used Apple products in this was because they needed that integration between, like, iMessage, FaceTime, and the MacBook.
Because Skype wouldn't fucking work.
Yeah, Skype wouldn't work. How else would Craig, the person we never learned anything else about, like, keep calling her and requesting shit? Craig, the character who we thought was going to be important, but just turned out to be a fake booty call.
I thought maybe the boyfriend that was in the Bye Bye Man, I thought he was Craig when he showed up. No.
Nah.
I thought that may have...
I did
I thought
too.
that would have, like, added some emotional weight or something. Like,
I actually like that it's someone we don't know.
Yeah.
I really like the idea that it's just someone fucking showing up and doing this stuff. But yeah.
And speaking of, just because I've done it the last couple times, this movie has an estimated budget of $1 million. So cheap movie to make.
So
there was only 4 people in it.
About this.
4 total actors, I think.
Yep, and the person that is the writer for this movie is married to the main character, Maddie.
Oh, well, there you go.
And comically enough, that ties into the movie that we're going to watch next, because he wrote the next movie that we're going to watch. And she's in this movie also. But this is tied through the link with her. You want to try and guess what we're going to watch, Zach? I'll give you a hint. It's Stephen King.
Oh, no. I'm on IMDb. I could just take a wild guess. She's known for...
We are going to watch
Gerald's
Game.
That's all it says, Hush. She's known for... Wait, which Gerald's Game? The new one? No, wait, that was a show.
The one on Netflix.
I thought the one on Netflix was a show.
Nope, hour and 43 minutes.
Oh, well, cool. That's been in my queue for a minute.
Yep. Yeah. I figured I've heard good things about this, so I figured we can watch that. It's giving you quite a few people to work with, so for love of God, stop sticking me with movies that don't have people in it. Son of a bitch.
He said when he picked the Bye Bye Man.
Yeah, and look what you got. You got Hush out of it, a movie that you liked. Mari, what did you think of Hush? Oh, Mari's asleep. That's adorable. I'm going to go over and slap her in a minute. Anyway, we're going to end this one here, right about the hour mark. This works out pretty well. Zach, do your thing.
Hush.
Hush indeed.
Hush, sweet
We'll
babies.
see you guys in the next one.
Bye.